Many of you fear that he will outlaw term limits. He will not do so. He cannot do so. It will not happen. I don't think you understand that the Founding Fathers were far better than him. And the Founding Fathers actually gave us our Constitution specifically for a day that a gang like this would take over the country. I don't think you understand that the Founding Fathers envisioned the day when a gang like Obama's would take over America, and that they would never, ever have absolute power no matter how they tried. And so the Founding Fathers, at the end of the day, will save us from Chairman Obama. Florida, carrier on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Michael. It seems like your predictions are coming true faster and faster, almost like real time. Like everything that you're saying is happening quicker and quicker.
Well, wait a minute. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Give me one prediction I made that you feel is coming true.
Such as how quickly he came into office and started doing everything that you predicted.
Yes, it's unheard of that a president would pass 5 executive orders within a week's time and that the media would look the other way. It's never happened before. This is a coup. This is not a presidency. This is a coup we're watching. We're watching a coup occur right before our eyes. They're melting down the financial system. This is all orchestrated. And by the way, the Republicans are in on it as far as I'm concerned. George W. Bush greased the skids for Chairman Obama. What George W. Bush started, this man is going to finish. And both parties are doing it at the bidding of the International Monetary Fund and other forces who want to see the dignity, the hegemony, the distinction, the separateness of the United States of America disappear so that we as a card can be rolled into the new deck called the New World Order, that we become one of many cards in the new deck that these neo-Marxists can play with. They do not want a strong nation defined by borders, language, and culture.
Yes.
Now that is the conservative viewpoint. Make no mistake about it. The conservative viewpoint is what I just expressed. Not what these frauds on MSNBC or Fox News are telling you is the conservative viewpoint. They may as well be all inspector. Those fake conservatives on Fox News may as well be all inspector, as far as I'm concerned. What I just told you is what the true conservative opinion is. New York, Michael, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, hello, Michael. First-time caller, long-time listener. I think you're terrific. Question is, what would be the Michael Savage stimulus plan if you were running the country?
All right, well, let's back it up. The first thing I would do is I would immediately indict the head of the SEC under George Bush, Chris Cox. I would indict the entire membership of the SEC except the 2 people in the organization who permitted this to happen. I certainly would indict and investigate Timothy Geithner. I certainly would indict and investigate the former Treasury Secretary. Before I would do anything else, I'd find out where the money went. Do you happen to know where the money went from the $700 billion they took from us in the last administration? Where did that money go?
It's in somebody's pocket somewhere.
Where is the money? They took $700 billion on the way out the door. Where did it go? And by the way, I remember when they were asking for $700 billion, that big mouth fraud, Chuck Schumer from Brooklyn, had the nerve to say, well, why take all $700 billion at once? Why don't you take $350 now and $350 next year? Now that fraudulent SOB with oversized feet has the nerve to say the people don't care about pork in this bill. But let me answer your question directly. In order to answer your question, we need to know where the money went first. In other words, I don't know what to stimulate immediately. I need to know where the money that was stolen by George Bush and his Treasury Secretary and others has gone. Where is it?
Okay, the money's gone. But now, moving forward, how would you spend the money? How would you move it around to get?
Why do we have to spend the money? Tell me why we have to spend money. Why do we have to spend? Why are we buying into this socialist propaganda that only by spending money can we spend ourselves out of debt? Who said that acquiring debt is a way out of debt? Where's that school of economics coming from?
It's a lot of scared people.
Obama is a fearmonger. Obama is using fear to sell a lie.
Savage.
And let me say this to all of the chattering class that so much focuses on those little tiny, yes, porky amendments. The American people really don't care.
That's up Chuck Schumer, who never met a pork barrel project he didn't like, saying that you don't care about the pork in the so-called stimulus bill, which is largely pork and very little stimulus. I'm not shocked by Schumer, but I'm going to shock you. When Obama replaces Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which no doubt will happen in the next few years, if not sooner, it could be Schumer who goes on the U.S. Supreme Court. That has been this man's wildest wish and dream ever since he was a mere boy in Brooklyn, I can assure you. So if you think that Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been radical, you are right. But you've seen nothing compared to what will happen once the next one gets on the Supreme Court. But let's move on to the next issue. I mean, I'd like to know what you'd like me to talk about. Let's go to Chicago. Michael, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Michael. This is Michael from Chicago. I'm interested in hearing your review on the vitamin report. I agree with you. My first inclination was that the study was probably incorrectly done because there's been too many studies done by very professional people like Linus Pauling that have proven the opposite, which is...
Right. Ever since Linus Pauling, let me back it up first. A major study was reported in the media the other day saying that a many multi-year study came out and proved beyond a reasonable doubt that multivitamins do not help reduce the risk of cancer, heart disease, and other illnesses. On the face of it, I suspected that it was a fraudulent study, and I got the study from the Archives of Internal Medicine, not from the newspaper. And it's exactly what I feared it would be. And let me explain it. Explain exactly what, I mean, let me read you one line. Dietary supplement data were collected during in-person clinic visits. Now listen to this carefully, people. Women brought supplement bottles to the baseline clinic visit. In other words, they were not even given controlled amounts of vitamins. They didn't know what supplements the women were taking. They didn't know whether it was, it's like saying a study was done on automobiles, and automobiles can get you from point A to point B, but certain automobiles don't do it at all. What automobile are you talking about, a Yugo or a Mercedes-Benz? So A, we don't know who manufactured the supplements. B, we don't know what dosages were consumed. 3, we don't know the frequency of use. And I looked more carefully. The dosages in every case were too low. The frequency of use was too low. And they were too variable to make any conclusions whatsoever. The only conclusion that you can make that's scientifically accurate about this fraudulent study that must have cost tens of millions of dollars is that the study itself was flawed.
Right. They probably...
Now, I got to tell you something. What I see going on here is part of a bigger picture. There is a concerted effort to disprove the validity of vitamins, and that is coming from the very same people who want to manage your life from cradle to grave. They do not want you to be able to have any self-control over your own health. They want you to have to go to a government doctor who will give you a government-prescribed pill to control every disease that you may have or you may feel you're going to get. They're going to try to legislate your vitamins out of your life. I can guarantee you, because it's been coming from the Democrats for the last 10 years. They want you to use, for example, statins instead of fish oils. I'm giving you one example. They want you to use some dangerous anti-cold preparation, which doesn't work, cough medicines, sneeze medicines, whatever, instead of mega doses of vitamin C. They do not want you to spend pennies. They want you to spend thousands of dollars of taxpayer money in the new socialized medical world that they are crafting for you. So be aware, and you'll see that once again I'm years ahead of my time. I'll be right back. I think people are more agitated, more anguished, more depressed, more frightened today than I have ever seen. I'm telling you right now, I am telling you that I've never seen anything like this. I know people who are reading the Bible for the first time in years. A friend of mine told me his wife the other night couldn't sleep. She woke up and she was reading the opening to the Bible, which is an amazing thing because he didn't know that I knew the opening was, which is, in the beginning God created the land and all its inhabitants, the earth and all its inhabitants. In the beginning God created it all. In the beginning God said, let there be light. And I said to him, why is your wife reading Genesis? He said, because she says there is so much darkness in the world that she is turning to the Bible to see some light. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know that the Bible is going to help you. It might give you some comfort. But I truly don't think these neo-Marxists give a rat's behind as to whether or not you are a God-fearing person. And I think it's going to take not an act of God, but an act of 10 million men to save America. I'll be right back.